Let's have a ranch off. We are comparing Highlands Ranch and Sterling Ranch in this week's video. Hey everybody, it's Alyson with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. All right, with Highlands Ranch and Sterling Ranch being so close together, yet Sterling Ranch having the new construction, I get a lot of questions asking me to compare the two. Which one's better? Should I choose this one? Should I choose that one? Are both of them options? So let's dive right in today and talk all the details. Highlands Ranch started in 1981. Highlands Ranch has about 38,000 homes. That also makes them home to about 100,000 people. Highlands Ranch has paid off its Metro District bond that they needed to kind of build up the community from 40 plus years ago. Highlands Ranch offers its residents private access to its 4 rec centers that also includes access to pools, fitness facilities, tennis courts, pickleball courts, climbing walls, batting cages, all sorts of things are parts of these rec centers. And then there are, of course, classes as well. The median lot sizes in Highlands Ranch run between 6,000 and 7,500 square feet, with the larger lots being in zip code 80126. Highlands Ranch average home price as of today, $804,000. And that's giving you an average total square foot of about 3,100 square feet. For all of Highlands Ranch, the median age of home is around 1996, 1997. And last, the property tax rate in Highlands Ranch is running somewhere around the 0.7, 0.8%, a little lower than 0.8 on average is what I see in there. We generally are basing that off the purchase price or sales price of the home. The county has a much more fancy way of calculating it, but ultimately it still ends up coming out to a number that we can parse off of the purchase price. Same with new builds. You generally know what it's going to be based on the purchase price. All right, next up, Sterling Ranch. They started delivering homes in around 2017. They're only going to build 12,000 to 13,000 homes, so they're going to be less than half the size of Highlands Ranch. Being so new, they definitely have not paid off the bond for their Metro District. Sterling Ranch does have private amenities for their residents. They have a clubhouse, they have a pool, they have a fitness center. Currently, they only have one set of amenities. It is slated there are going to be more, but even as they've moved into several of the neighborhoods that they have built, several of these pockets and pods, they have not added more amenities. And that's been one of the gripes from the residents, that it's getting a little crowded in the summertime having just one pool for so many homes and residents so far. The median lot size in Sterling Ranch runs 5,250 square feet. And I did specifically look at just the single family homes. I took out all the townhomes to make sure, because it did drop it substantially when we had those attached products in there. The average home price in Sterling Ranch right now is $691,000. So par for the course what we see in new construction. The new constructions are usually costing less than the existing homes. The average home size in Sterling Ranch right now is running 2,900 square feet. Median age is not really a valuable number at this point because of the pace at which they're growing and churning out new homes, and they just started in 2017, so that number is constantly moving upward. So nearly everything in here would be considered a newer home. And then there's that all-important number. What is the property tax rate? In Sterling Ranch, we're at 1.23%. All right, let's try to make this an apples to apples comparison. Let's try to elevate the Sterling Ranch home to a Highlands Ranch home, because the Sterling Ranch homes are smaller. Let's try to bring them up to scale to a Highlands Ranch home and see what it looks like. If we take the average dollar per square foot of a home in Sterling Ranch, which right now is about $238 a square foot, multiply that by the 300 square foot difference in average size between a Highlands Ranch home and a Sterling Ranch home, then we come out with about $71,000 in cost difference, right? So to upsize from Sterling Ranch to Highlands Ranch to get the same average footprint, we would tack on about $71,000 in value or price to a Sterling Ranch home. Now we know it's not ever exactly this way, but when we're working with averages, this is what we get. So now all of a sudden, the average cost of a Sterling Ranch home that is the same average size of one in Highlands Ranch becomes an average home price of $762,000. If this Sterling Ranch home is a new build, you're going to be paying for landscaping install, you're going to be paying for window coverings to be installed, and generally you're going to be paying for some new appliances, fridge, washer, dryer. Sometimes you can negotiate those in with the builder. We're actually going to assume that you did get to negotiate those appliances in with the builder, and you're only paying for landscaping and window coverings. So on the low side of things, we're gonna say that costs $20,000. Now, your new home price for a Sterling Ranch home is $782,000. Now we have homes of similar size in two different neighborhoods. The Highlands Ranch home is probably on a lot that is several thousand square feet larger, but we at least have similarly sized homes, and the cost difference is gonna be $22,000 apart. So, now which neighborhood do you want? We didn't account for property taxes yet. Let's talk about that piece. The taxes in Sterling Ranch are about 70% higher than what you're going to be paying in Highlands Ranch. If we use a $1 million price tag for a home to have nice round numbers, that means the taxes in Sterling Ranch are going to be about $12,000 a year, and in Highlands Ranch, they're going to run around $7,000 a year. That gives you a differential of $5,000 a year. Run that out over 5 years and you're at $25,000 in difference just on your tax bill. The other thing you're gonna notice if you do any online research is that folks in Sterling Ranch talk a lot about water. Sterling Ranch, being new, was a lot farther down the chain on getting water rights, access to water, so it costs them a lot more to bring water into the community. Highlands Ranch does not have generally large water bills. Now, if you're a big user, maybe so, but generally we're only watering our lawns from May to October, so 5-6 months of the year, and it's not going to cost you so much unless you have a huge yard and you overwater or somehow need a lot of it for some reason, or have a ton of kids and they take baths a lot every day. It seems even with these small yards, median size of just over 5,000 square feet, people still complain about their water bills. Luckily, Colorado has legalized water capture in rain barrels. People are using that method. They're obviously going to Xeriscape. The inside water use is cheaper, right? So bathing, dishwashing, laundry, it's using it outside at your lawn that's costing so much more, but we're hearing high 300s, low 400s for water bills until people get a grasp on it. That is something that's very uncommon around here. We don't usually have water bills nearly that high. So if you take a, let's say, $250 a month differential over 6 months, multiply that out over 5 years, you've got another big chunk of money that you're just kind of throwing out that maybe you didn't have to if you're trying to live on a tighter budget. So mathematically, Highlands Ranch and Sterling Ranch kind of show up on par with each other, right? Because once you add in all the extra taxes for Sterling Ranch, you add in the extra costs for water, you kind of upsize to bring them to be equal to each other. Sterling Ranch isn't such a deal. However, if your budget is smaller, if you're going to Xeriscape, and you overall just need something that is lower on the scale, and you're wanting to be on the west side of town, and you just want a new build, Sterling Ranch may still be just showing up for you as the best option. So what are you getting out of the deal in Sterling Ranch? New build, new build, new build, new build all day long. There are so few places to get new construction on the west side of town. Let's just sit with the perks of new construction and why people love it so much, right? The house doesn't usually need any work. Everything is fresh and clean. The paint doesn't need to be touched up. All the mechanicals are new. You should not need a new furnace, new AC, new water heater, having the plumbing checked, finding a leak any time for years. And anything that shows up in the first year, which is usually when builder issues show up, is covered under a warranty from the builder. The key is pick a good builder, please. Additionally, sometimes you're going to get lower home insurance costs by having a newer construction home. That's not a blanket statement because there are other factors that go into insuring your home, but the roof is newer, it's not old and aged, it hasn't been beat up by hail already. Your home is better insulated, the way a home is constructed is often better, so sometimes you're getting a cut on a cost there. Also, if your aesthetic is new, white, clean, square edges, none of those glass blocks in the bathroom windows, you may get a better deal going new construction than going into a Highlands Ranch neighborhood where you know you're going to have to put money into the house so that you feel happy in your home. A lot of Highlands Ranch has older design aesthetics. It may have arches. It may have arches with bullnose corners and kind of some three-dimensional aspects to the drywall and things you want to get rid of. It may have a fireplace with a TV niche next to it for back when we had those box televisions where they expected someone to set their TV on a little table, but it wasn't quite the same flat screens we have today. Builders don't always build thinking ahead. They build for now. They build for what they know from 2 years ago. When they design plans, they aren't thinking, where do I want my client's house to function or this floor plan to work 5 years from now? They aren't thinking timeless. They're thinking, what do people want today? All right, and let's get real about those property taxes. So Sterling Ranch is at 1.23%. Shays Community in the Canyons and Castle Pines, 1.25%. We've got communities over in Parker that are 1.1, 1 flat, 1.22. Everywhere you go, if you're getting new construction, you're going to be above 1%. So if new build is your thing, you already kind of take that as a sunk cost. The question is, are you debating between new build and an existing home? And you really have to put all of these different things on a spreadsheet. How much does developed landscaping mean to you? How much does tree-lined streets mean to you? How much does the access to numerous rec centers mean to you? Let's talk about the schools. Sterling Ranch does not have kind of their own set of schools at this point. For elementary, you go into Roxborough, which is in that area, right? For right now, middle school and high school, you go into Highlands Ranch. Now, for some people, they're like, fantastic, I love the Highlands Ranch schools. Others are going, are you kidding me? I'm commuting 15 minutes into the neighboring neighborhood when I could just live there and go 3 minutes. So you have to really think about how the lifestyle is working for you and what you could choose, what you want, how does it work? Are you ready to get in at a lower price and wait for the development to come around you? So if the taxes are a sunk cost and your eyes are on new construction, what else might you like about Sterling Ranch? A lot of my folks that are looking at new construction are thinking about how easy it might be to make connections with new families, people moving in, because a lot of times when people move into a new community, they see that other people are trying to make friends and make connections. They know that people haven't been there 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, like Highlands Ranch lifers. There are some. There's a lot of turnover in Highlands Ranch, so it doesn't have to be hard to make friends and connections. But a lot of times these new builds and new communities have Facebook groups, and they start moms groups and bunco groups and book groups and dads groups and hiking groups and running groups, you name it. There's a place and a way to connect, and that often feels like it makes it so much easier to find a niche and funnel down into a place where you're going to connect. As well as a lot of times they are families, so kids have a runway to make some connections as well. If you are not someone with kids that's watching this and thinking about it, don't worry. I have plenty of clients who are kidless, even single, who've moved into Highlands Ranch and love it as well. It's a very diverse community because of all the housing options in there. The other thing that draws people into Sterling Ranch, the views. Yes, that west edge of town, all those foothills. Even if your home doesn't have the views, as soon as you kind of come around the corner and get onto one of those open streets or the open space, they're right there. And that is what people come to Colorado hoping to have. The mindset people have who haven't lived here is as soon as I get into Colorado, or at least in Denver, I've got mountains in front of me, I've got open space, I've got trees, I've got waterfalls, I've got green, I've got pines. Well, it's not everywhere. So when you find a spot to have that, it starts to become priceless and highly desirable. And Sterling Ranch really delivers well on that, in addition to the fact that it's so close to lots of open space, state parks, trails. You've got Waterton Canyon. You've got, of course, the reservoir right nearby. So if you like to take your dog out to the water, you like to go paddle boarding, you have a boat, which people do. So much opportunity to live out in nature and be a little closer to it. Now, the vibe in Sterling Ranch can be a little, I don't know, bipolar might be the word. You are both really removed from everything and it can feel quiet and very peaceful. And then when you leave, it can get a little chaotic. that many road options to get out of there. And really the two roads they do have to leave Sterling Ranch, one's gonna take you more west and the other option is gonna take you more east. So it feels like you have one option to get in and out, so you have to deal with that traffic. You don't have much choice, so you're gonna feel a little bogged down. And also you don't have much in the way of amenities nearby. So you have one local grocery store, and that means you have one local pharmacy there. So you're gonna need to do mail order for pharmacy if you don't wanna wait in line, or you need to plan extra time, 15 minutes to head over to Highlands Ranch, 15 minutes to head out into Littleton where all of the shops are. You've gotta give yourself a chance to get out. It is not a 3-minute run to the grocery store on a regular basis and a quick in and out, because everybody from Roxborough that lives there, everyone who lives down kind of around the Arrowhead Golf Course goes to the same spot. Everyone in Sterling Ranch goes there. Everyone in Solstice goes there. And there's just one place. So it's a little bit more crowded than if you were somewhere like Highlands Ranch where you have 3 grocery stores within 3 minutes. You also have a Target. You also have a Walmart. You also have grocery delivery left and right. Very different vibe. So quiet and chaotic. A little bit of both. There is hope for retail to come. They do have the land set aside for it and a plan. So if you want to be one of the intrepid adventurers who has the patience to wait for that, you'll be just like some of the original folks in Highlands Ranch who moved down there when it was just a few homes and nothing else. So I wouldn't blame you, because look at Highlands Ranch now. On that note, is Highlands Ranch the spot for you instead of Sterling Ranch? Well, the homes in Highlands Ranch are generally going to be at least 15 years older than you'll find in Sterling Ranch, sometimes close to 40 years older. What does that mean for you? It certainly means maturity in the landscaping. Big trees, lots of shade, bigger yards. Some of the yards, especially in the original parts of Highlands Ranch, can be a 1/4 acre, maybe a little larger. So the privacy component is wonderful. Also, the open space through Highlands Ranch does not have power lines. I didn't even touch on the power line piece of Sterling Ranch. There are power lines running through Sterling Ranch, and you just don't have that power line piece running amidst and among the Highlands Ranch area. But as I touched on, with the age of the homes often comes a true need for updating. Sometimes it's layout and floor plan, other times it's just a lot of cosmetic work. That cosmetic work is going to cost you time, it's going to cost you effort, it's going to cost you money, and it's certainly going to bring along some headaches with it. It doesn't ever seem to go without a hitch, whether you're DIYing it or using a contractor or a bit of both. I caution strongly against purchasing flips, just a straight out flip like an LLC, someone who came in and sold it 4 or 5 months later. Those tend to be the worst of the worst. The best option, of course, if you find one that's been updated with care by the family who lived there, or just find one that needs your own TLC if you have the guts for it. Why is Highlands Ranch so loved? Convenience is a big one. Retail, amenities, golf courses, stores, libraries, parks, dog parks, yoga, post office, hospitals and healthcare. Of course, those beloved rec centers. The privacy is another reason. You can have privacy fences in Highlands Ranch. You can't have privacy fences in Sterling Ranch. The mature landscaping gives privacy. All of those robust trees that give you tree-lined streets and covering in your backyard and shade. The larger lot sizes are a big piece of that too. All of the open space that runs between homes that gives you some distance and the opportunity to purchase homes along those open spaces. Golf, 55 plus housing. So this community is really transitional. It's a nice one for families that want to move in, bring kids, and then the grandparents that want to move and follow along. Or for those folks who moved here years and years and years ago but don't want to leave their friends but are ready to get out of their 2-story house and just want to move into something that's a little more easy to live in, right? Single story. Multiple options for top-rated schools, gives you choice for where you want to live across Highlands Ranch, as well as the open enrollment to choose your school across Highlands Ranch, and you're close to all of them still. The gated community options, the semi-custom home options, the custom home options, the mountain view options, of course, because you can get the snow-capped white peaks that everybody wants and wishes for when they live in Colorado. And if that list wasn't enough, you can of course check out more of these videos on Highlands Ranch and why people absolutely love living here. Now, on the commute front, Highlands Ranch and Sterling Ranch might possibly break out even if you commute into downtown, because Sterling Ranch sits along Highway 85 heading north, and you can take that into downtown. So if you're heading in on traffic hour timing, then you might break even because you don't have to take 25. Now you're going to hit stoplight after stoplight after stoplight after stoplight, but you don't have to cut across on 470 to 25 and go north. In Highlands Ranch, you can kind of split the difference and go either way. You're generally going to be faster to take 25. When it comes to commuting to the tech center, you're certainly closer in Highlands Ranch. If you're commuting to, say, maybe Lakewood, you're probably closer in Sterling Ranch. So it also depends where you're going to work, where you're headed, and the hours of the day in which you travel. Where else are these two communities on equal footing? Well, they both struggle with large roads that bisect the community. Highlands Ranch, as I said, it's so large, right? So you've got several roads that break it apart. You've got to get in and out, right? So at least you have multiple options to get in and out of Highlands Ranch, but you want to avoid being a home that backs to one of these roads. It's always harder to sell a home that backs to a road. I just had a client looking in Sterling Ranch. She loved the price point, new construction. She was going to have an unfinished basement, single-story home. So we're talking about 1,700 square feet. They were asking $775,000 in Sterling Ranch, and she was going to be backing to a major road with development behind her. We didn't know what it was based on the signs. We eventually found out it was going to be multifamily, so townhomes of some sort. And then it was at a corner, so there was other development yet to be on the other side. They were marketing it, of course, as open space, and it was technically, but she was going to be backing up to, high-speed traffic. It was supposed to be 45 miles an hour, but they're going 55. $775,000 for that. So just to give you a feel of, while we're talking about average pricing in these communities, this was a single-story home on unfinished basement backing to a major road in Sterling Ranch. And this was just a couple weeks ago. So power lines and busy roads, I care a lot about. Power lines exist in Sterling Ranch. They do not in Highlands Ranch. Lifestyle-wise, I personally think Highlands Ranch wins. If you're a family with young kids and you're busy and you want things conveniently, quick, you want to have a library nearby, you want to get some books, you want to get the kids out to play, you want to throw them in a splash pad, you want to tire them out, you want to go home, you want to walk the dog, you want to have some shade, you want to grab some food, you want to take that quick run to the grocery store, you want to have friends over, you want life quick and easy and also not loud, Highlands Ranch wins. But that's not the case for everyone. There are lots of reasons why Sterling Ranch wins out. I have also bought numerous new construction homes and I love new builds. So I understand. If you would love to connect with me on which community around the South Denver area might work for you, existing home, new construction, pros, cons, please reach out. I would love to connect. Hey, I will see y'all next week.